Hello, welcome back to How to Invest for Yourself. I thought I'd go over the Velocity Banking budget spreadsheet that I've created. Most of this I'm going to be using for myself, but if you want a copy of it, you'll have to kind of copy and hopefully the formulas will follow through for you, but you just have to notify me if that's what you're wanting. So I'm just going to go over this one real quick and keep it super simple. To start with the top, in Velocity Banking you basically need to know at least 3 of the numbers, and then the 4th is just a verification to see if you are a net positive or net negative on cash flow. So the way the Velocity Banking will work successfully without any issue is you have to have positive cash flow. If not, you will have to find positive cash flow, which also makes things more strict and more tight for you in paying off your debts. And if you're fine with that and you think you can sustain that kind of lifestyle, then the more power to you. Okay, so but basically for most people we just want to find that positive cash flow and try to stay positive. Alright, so let's just start here. In our income bracket here, I just keep it simple. You can put the name of the sources of income that you have, whether it's disability, pension, social security, your 9 to 5, and then your part-time job. You just put the name in here. You put the amount of which you get on your paycheck. Like this is after tax money, and then how often that you get that paycheck. Every other week, or are you paid monthly or weekly or daily, who knows, and then you just do the math. So we took C9 right here, or C5, sorry. We took C5, 1,000 times 26 because you're paid bi-weekly, so 26, and then divided by 12 will give you your monthly average of $2,166.67. Then you have your annual, which is just taking your monthly and timesing it times 12. So that's real simple, super basic. This is just a sum of the column, and the sum of the columns, okay? So that's your income. We have our debts here. We can name out all your credit cards, loans, student loans, car loans, mortgages, tax liens, or not tax liens, but tax debts and things like that. Okay, and you put in your minimum payments for all those. Not what you're paying now, but what your minimum payments are, and then your due dates. Alright, if you know your closing date, put the closing date, and you can usually find that on your statement for your credit cards, your loans, car loans, mortgage. But primarily the closing date for us that we care about the most is on these lines of credit. That's the most important thing, because these ones charge the interest around that closing period. So when the closing period happens, you have a grace period depending on what your contract is, and then you'll see you're going to be charged all of interest on that closing date. Alright, so let's see here. Put in your terms, meaning the interest rate on those loans if you know what they are, and then your line credit limit, like how much limit do you have on said card. And then we would just do simple math, like let's say you owed $1,000 on this card, you subtract it from here and you have 4,000 basically. If you had borrowed, you owe $5,000 on this card and you subtract the 10 grand, then basically you have $5,000 of a credit limit. This one field that I left blank is optional. So this is what happens if you need to have an emergency fund. And so as I explained before, nowadays keeping cash in a bank account is not a good idea, only because the interest paid is very low, or you have to find a specific bank that's going to give you 4.5 or higher in interest rate to match inflation at least, or invest it in some kind of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or whole life insurance policy. But I would think that for most people the credit here is just going to be what your credit cards are, because most of us are going to whip out our credit card. We're not going to go log into our brokerage account and start selling stocks to get money. Now unless it's something major, like I don't know, say you have some kind of extreme health issues and you have an extreme bill that you have to pay and you just want to get it done and you just want to pay it off as fast as possible, okay, sure, cash out all of your stocks and bonds and stuff like that and try to pay that off as fast as possible. But most of those medical bills don't have interest, so I wouldn't be too powerfully concerned too much about that. I would just set up a payment agreement with the people, the borrowers of the hospitals that you owe the money to, and then just work on paying that down. But that would not be my primary focus. Okay, so add up everything that you have for your monthly payments in this column here. We just summed this whole column, what you're actually paying. This is like kind of what you're doing right now. So if you say, hey, my monthly payment minimum is only 50, but I have a little bit of extra cash, so I pay 200 bucks. Same thing for this guy. I pay, you know, instead of $45, I just round it up. I just go to 100 bucks. And then you can total out what you owe on the card and total out what you have on your credit limits. And then you can put in your water bill, your electric bill, gas for your car, insurance, cell phone, internet, cable bill, groceries, and miscellaneous. Miscellaneous could be pretty much anything. It could be your subscriptions, your gym membership. It could be, I don't know, whatever I left out. Like it could be, maybe you separate your groceries from your fast food going out type money, or maybe you have an annual pass that you're paying for a theme park. Whatever it is, right? So this is just your miscellaneous expenses in here. Okay, so we're just going to total all that up. Your budget is this, and all you gotta do is hit equals, right? And you see how it already populated that right there. Enter. Oops, I just messed that up. Just hit equals. It populates this whole thing right here, and hit enter. Done. And then you can slowly put in your actuals, right? And then you can figure out what your differences are. So let's say that my budget was $50 for the water, but the water bill came in at 60, then you can say, okay, what is the difference? Here it's going to be 50 minus this, and you can see your -10, and it turns a different color, so this is red. Alright, and so we can just copy this down, all the way down, and you can see currently it's all positive, right, because there's no actuals in here. And then what I would do is go ahead and just slowly start putting your stuff in. Say you budgeted 150, but your actual electric bill is 110 this month for whatever reason. Your car, you budgeted 150, but you actually spent $149, so you're just a little bit shy. Let's say your car insurance went up this month. It was 150 a month. That was easy to predict, and now it's 160. You see what I'm saying? So you could do things like that. Paid by is whether you're using a credit card or your checking account. So I would write in here that this is from my checking account. This is from my checking account. Maybe you get gas with your credit card, so you just type in credit. And maybe you could be specific, and maybe you pay your car insurance from, say, B of A, Bank of America. Maybe you pay your cell phone with, I don't know, Verizon, the Verizon credit card. Maybe you pay your internet with another credit card or your checking account. So you just continue to do that, and any notes that you have, you just write them in there. So this is just an Excel format. You can expand or contract the areas. I wouldn't worry too much if it runs over. You can say, I had to make an additional payment to my company, water bill, whatever. You'll see how it runs over a little bit. I wouldn't worry about it too much. See, there's nothing going to be over on this side. So I would just write my notes in there as you see fit. Okay, so I have two screens up here, and this is kind of how I would do it, is just have all my numbers on one screen, then on the second screen I'd go into my weekly tracker. So real quick, we're just going to go over what this weekly tracker is and what it's got in there. I'm going to make this very big first. Okay, so here it's very simple. This is your weekly tracker. We put in the year, like for example it's 2023 right now. You can put in the month, say November, right? And it's going to be the first week of your velocity adventure. So I'm just going to put the week. But what you're going to do, you don't even have to put the number in there. I'll just clear that out and just go in here and say, so the first week of November, you would pull up your little calendar and you say, okay, so November has 2 days that came from October, so we go 30 through the 5th. I always go from Monday to Sunday because the credit card will most likely not update until that Monday, and also your checking account will not clear out anything until that Monday, but you can put your numbers in that have occurred over that week, so 7 days total. Okay, so I would go here and go 30th through the 5th because that's the dates in our calendar, right? The 30th is a Monday, goes all the way through that whole week, and we're in the 5th of November, so that's what I would put there. The next one is going to be the 6th through the 12th, so 6-12. And the next one is going to be 13 through 19, and then 20 through, not 30, 20 through 26. And then so on and so on and so on. Alright, so you can adjust the how this is written out too. I'll just keep it on the side so you can actually see it. And the last one here, 27, there's 4 days here, so this is actually going to count on the last week of November, so 27th through the 3rd. I'm going to go 27 through 3. Alright, so let's say we go back and we want to look at, we want to find out what our budgeted is, what our due dates are, what our payments are, and then what our due dates were, the actual due dates. So you're gonna keep updating this information along with your payments, and if there's any notes you need to write, you just write the notes on the side here. And so this whole area is where most of your work is going to occur. You're gonna write in your debt tool, whatever the max is, that max limit. And I would say, I don't know, let's look at this real quick. So we're just gonna start filling this out. So say your max limit is that we'll use this $10,000 credit card. So you have a max limit of 10 grand. We'll go 10 grand right here. But this says your debt tool max, right? Your debt tool max has a limit of 10K. You just put 10K in there. What is your starting balance? In this case, it's $5,000. So it goes $5,000. All right. Let's pretend that this person gets paid on the 2nd. That way we can kind of use that first week. So we get paid on the 3rd. Okay, so on the 3rd they get paid, and the 17th, and then the 1st. So we're gonna go here, and I'm just gonna put a payday here, and a payday here, and a payday here. Okay, so I'm putting a P there to signify that that's a payday. So we got what? We have the 3rd, which falls between the 30th and the 5th. We have the 17th, which falls between the 13th and 19th, and we have the 1st, which falls between the 27th and the 3rd here. So I put a P there to identify what is a payday. Now you can probably make it uppercase just to make it more visual. If you want to put pictures in there, you could, but we're just trying to keep things somewhat simple. I know this is not simple at all, and we'll go ahead and put in our income. So what was our income? Our income amount is 1,000. And that's what we budgeted for, so we're going to say 1,000. What it actually would be is whatever you find out on that day, right? So you get paid on the 3rd, and let's say you get paid a little more. I got $1,110. Well, okay, so I got that. That's nice. The negatives here do not mean negative as in a bad thing. This just means that you're doing better than your budget. Okay, so so we'll put the same information in here. Say you have your limit is actually 10,000, so we'll put that in there. Let's say you owe less because you didn't take into consideration in your original budget how much your limit was at that time. Let's say it was $4,500 that you actually owed on the credit card, and then you would just fill in the rest of this, and I'll show you how we would go about doing that. All right. So here we see if we're predicting our budget out, we'd say $10,000 is what our tool is. We have $5,000 here. We have $1,000 for our payday, and our subtotal is obviously $4,000. That's what we have on that credit card, that debt tool. This whole line is going to be based on the debt tool numbers, right? When we start adding things in here. Okay, so we need to carry over. We don't know what our withdrawals are. Withdrawals would be like the charges that come out throughout the month, like your payments. So we'll just use these numbers that we have over here. So we know that on the 3rd is this credit card payment, and it's actually going to be $45. That's the minimum. So we're going to put the due date is the 3rd and $45, and then the 12th is $50. Let's make up some numbers for the rest of these bills here. Let's go with this could be the 12th. Let's go with the 3rd here. Let's say car gas, we don't know because that could vary throughout the month. We can say that our insurance is on the 15th, our cell phone bill is on the 17th, our internet is on the 18th, our cable bill is on the 7th, and groceries come out through the month, so we're not putting that a date in there. We're not putting this in either as a date. So these will be averages. So let's go ahead and add in these dates. All right, so we're gonna shift this around a little bit. So we'll go the 3rd. We're gonna go actually here 2nd. On the 2nd of the month, you have $150, 150. On the 3rd, which is up here, is $45, 45. What's the next one we got? The 7th. So we'll go 7, and that one is no cable bill. We'll make him have a cable bill. We'll go 60 bucks, $60 for a cable. So we'll go 60. Then the next number is the 12th, and that is $50 for the credit card, and for the 12th down here it's $50 for the water bill. So we're gonna do 2 12ths, so 50 and 50. And then let's see, we have the 15, 17, and 18. So I'm gonna go 15, 17, 18. No period. 17, 18. Okay, and then we'll put the amounts in 150, 60, and 50. Is that all of our bills? Let's see. This is pretty simple, so we're not really going to go full out in here. We're just going to look at how long will it take us to pay off these debts. Let's say that they just want to pay it all off. How long will it take them? Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we got 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's correct. And now on this last line we can say average, right? Weekly. Now I would do this average weekly based on what our budget is. So our budget is these numbers that we don't have actual hardcore dates for. They just randomly occur, and this is what we budgeted for. Okay, so we got 150 plus 30 plus 30, that makes 600, 750. So 750 per month, we'll go 750. And this is per month, so equals 750, right? 750 multiply by 12 because there's 12 months in a year, and then divide by 52. That will give your weekly. So weekly here, and we can fix the numbers here to get rid of the extra decimals because no one has like fractions of a penny. So basically the weekly needs to be $173.08. So we're going to write that in our budget, and then when we actually have our actual numbers, we can add it in here and put the dates along the sides of when we spent the money for the gas, the groceries, going out to eat on our actuals, and then put it into the slot for this blue slot. So it's extra work, but you have to sometimes get to the pennies in order to understand how you're spending money and where you can make cuts and things like that. Okay, so now that we have all the budgeted numbers and everything from here, we no longer need to look at this sheet for the rest of our budgeting time. We just need to know, hey, we have $1,000 that we need to pay off here, and we need to pay off this $5,000. And I think in this case, I would go with the highest interest in this case, and that's our debt tool anyway. Let's go ahead and pay off. How long will it take us to pay off our debt tool with our income being $1,000 every 2 weeks? Okay, so let's go here. I'm gonna make this bigger. And now we're just going to focus inside here. So we're going to go between the 30th and the 1st. Okay, we're going to hit equals. And what happens between the 30th and the 1st? Well, the 30th and the 5th. We have these two payments right here. So we're going to go and hit equals, and then go this one plus this one. Okay, so I just hit the plus sign, and then I just clicked in the square and then hit enter. Now what are we missing? We're missing our average weekly. So we're going to add in one more, so add in our average weekly, and that's how much that week would be in withdrawals, right? And let's say we know what the credit card is. Let's go back to that credit card real quick. Alright, so we know that the credit card, this one's due on the 3rd. Okay, so technically interest would be due on the 3rd. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a 3rd on here on the side, so I know when interest is due, at least for this month. So if I look at the interest, I go, okay, So I'm going to go ahead and do the math here, and we're gonna estimate it on the $5,000, right? The high end for that month. So if your monthly statement comes in for November and you say, oh, I owe 5,000, then put the 5,000. It's better to be over than under. Don't count the payment. Okay, not right now. Okay, so we're gonna go in here, and we are going to go and do equals. You're going to take your highest number, and you're going to multiply by the interest rate. So the interest rate is 25%, so 0.25, and then divided by 12. And that gives you your interest rate for that month. Okay, so this is obviously a carryover from October. Actually, the October bill will say, hey, your balance, your total balance at the end of the month was $5,000. This is how much you owe in interest. But we're just going to do this math here. It's better to be higher on our estimates, and then when you see your real one, that'd be like a reason for celebration or concern, depending on whether you're a positive or a negative. Okay, so now we're going to go back to this. We know what our interest rate is. I'm going to go ahead and put the third. I'm going to write this over here so I can keep track of the percentage, the interest rate. Okay, so we did our first week completed. Nice. And then for budget, you could budget all the way out. This one I'm just doing it for 12 months. Right, so the number on the side is got the 12. I'm only going to do 12 months, okay, in this budget. And I would recommend you do that just to not overwhelm yourself with you can see how long it takes right here just doing this. So we're just going to fill in the rest of this information, and we'll go for the 6th through the 12th. So our week, this is the next week, goes from the 6th to the 12th. So what happens on the 6th to the 12th? We have this payment, so we're going to hit equals. It looks like we have this payment, and this payment, and this payment. So these three payments, and don't forget about our weekly average, that one, and hit enter. Now we can see what our oh, sorry, that's the payday. My bad. There's no payday on this week. Take that out, 0. Go back to here. Withdrawals. That's the correct column you want to be in. So you got to kind of pay attention. You saw I just made a mistake. It's very easy to make a mistake. So just hit equals. Once you do this a couple times, it'll be like, for the most part, it'll be muscle memory at that point. So anyways, back to the 6th through the 12th, that would be this one, and this one. There's nothing else, right? So we don't have to go to the 15th. We do add in our weekly average expected expenses. Put that in there. No interest for that week, 0. In fact, for the rest of the month, 0 and 0. But this one's on the 3rd, so we're going to have to charge interest on the highest balance. But we'll get there. So let's go here. So the next week. There's a payday, so I'm going to put payday in here. It was $1,000, right? And then we're going to put in our withdrawals from the 13th to the 19th, so we hit equal. And we go, this one is within that time frame, this one, and our weekly average expenses. Alright, and there's our ending total for that week, $4,000 on our credit card. There's no payday here on this week. And then we're going to go ahead and do our expenses from the 20th. There's nothing for the 20th through the 26th. You see there's nothing here. We do have the weekly average, so we'll just add that in there. No interest, our total for that week. Alright, so here we are. We got paid again. Let's check it again. We got paid on the 1st. Okay, so we got paid on the 1st this time. And I'm just going to write it in right here, $1,000. And then we are going to do our budget. Anything from the 27th to the 3rd. Well, there's only 2 payments, and then our weekly. So we're going to go equals this plus our average weekly. Enter. There will be interest on the 3rd, because see, you got right here, the 3rd is the 25%. We're going to go based on the higher number here. So the highest number for this month, though. So we could do it for the highest month. I think we could probably do it after this right here. So what was the highest number? 4,472, 4,800. I think that is our highest number. So we'll do it off of this number here, this 4,800. So we're going to hit equals. We're going to take the highest number, this one, times 0.25 divided by 12. And now your subtotal at the end of the month on your credit card is $3,879.66. So now we just have to do copy paste from here on out for the rest of the months. So we say this is November. We can put the year right here if we wish. if we get confused, but I don't think we would need to. We know we're in 2023 on these 2 months here of our budget. So we're gonna go December, right? Type in December, pull up your calendar, and figure out what days fall in that December. Okay. So we already covered up to the 3rd, right, in our last month's budget. So we're gonna go from the 4th to the 10th. So we're gonna go here 4-10. The next week is going to be. Well, make sure you pay attention to which month you're on. Probably print out a calendar or have a calendar next to you to do it so you don't get confused. Alright, so we did 4 through 10, 11 to 17, and you can just write it down on a piece of paper and then transfer it onto an Excel spreadsheet. And this is very rudimentary. I'm not doing anything fancy here. Anybody could do this stuff. It's not complicated. I just color coded things, made it look nice. You can do the same thing. Whatever helps you out visually to see, hey, green means good, and that's cash coming in. Red's like bad, man, money going out. Alright, so anyways, so we're gonna do this one. This is the 11th through, I think it was, let's scroll down, 11 through 17, 18 to 24. So this is 17. This is 18 to 24. And this one is, let's see what we got. The 25th through the 31st. All perfect. So we ended right on that last week. So 25 through 31. 25, 31. And then this last one we don't need to worry about, right? Because the budget is already good to go for this entire month budget. We're done. So I'm gonna highlight this whole area right here. And I'm gonna just color code it. You don't have to change any of the formulas or nothing like that. I'm just gonna make it all black. Bam. So that way you don't need to look at it. Okay. Running totals, okay, it is what it is, but it doesn't bother me none. Look at the number here. This ending balance is 3,879.66, and look what starts on the next month. 3,879.66. Okay, so nothing is being put in these cells here, so it's not going to change this starting balance for the next month. All right, so let's go ahead and fill this out. So we're going to copy what we did up here. Maybe you make adjustments in your budget, and you can also adjust your budget on what you actually have and say, hey, I need to budget a little bit higher, or maybe I can take a little bit of money from here from my budget and adjust it. Say this payment went down to $100, and now you got $50 left over. Maybe you want to put it on something else. You see what I'm saying? So you can adjust it however you want. These numbers are just you manually putting the numbers in based on the start of your budget. This one, and this is where you can make all the changes here and then carry it over to your monthly budget. Okay, so this one's like a real quick at the glance. Okay, what do I have? What are the notes? Oh, this one's probably this one's going to be 0% 0% interest. Interest in starting in 2025. I don't know. I've never heard of anything like that, but let's just say that there was something like that it started in 2025. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe you get this credit card here, and it's actually 0% promo period for 21 months, but you don't owe any. You owe, it's maxed out. So, but maybe the credit line's only $1,000. Like, okay, well that's not going to be good enough for me to be a debt tool. It could be for this person, but let's just assume. This is just so you can say, hey, I can put notes on the side to explain whatever. This is where you just change everything, and you go over to your weekly and start adjusting your numbers how you see fit. All right, so that's done for November. So we're gonna go to December. We need to find out what the paydays are. He's already got paid on the 3rd, so most likely he's gonna get paid here, and he's gonna get paid here. Let's just double check. All right, so we got our calendar up. He got paid on the 1st, sorry, not the 3rd. So he got paid on the 1st, he got paid on the 15th, which falls between 11 and 17. So that is the 15th. And he's going to get paid on the 29th. Okay, so we're good there. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the income because I already know what it is. I might as well do it now. So 1,000. And on this one, this is also 1,000. But don't get all excited because that is not your ending balance. You got to put in all your expenses. So here we go. Week 1, no pay. What are our date ranges? We have the 4th through the 10th. So that's this one. And there's nothing else. And then we have our weekly expected expenses. We don't have to worry about interest because we already covered that on the 3rd. So no interest here. No interest here. No interest here. No interest here. Nice, man. We pretty much covered this entire month and not had to pay anything on interest. That's great. Alright, so 11 through 17. What do we got? We have this, this, and this. Okay, done. Next line, there's no payday there, so 0. Go here, hit equals 18 through 24. So we just have one payment here plus our weekly average. That's in there. And then the last one, everything's good to go. We're not missing any numbers. Good. Okay, here. What is our expenses here? 25th through the 31st, there's none here except for this. So we hit equals real quick. Click on what we want to add in there. Bam. And so our total at the end of December is $2,991.97. So we're actually reducing our debt pretty good by almost $1,000. You see that? It's doing pretty good. All right. So now we're on the new year. We'll go January. All right. We're doing great. So we're gonna go January. I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, nothing's changed. Alright, our bills are pretty much staying the same. And we're just projecting. So that's all we're doing as a budget, is just predicting what is going to be our paychecks. Our paychecks, if they don't get us a raise or nothing like that, we just stick to the same numbers that we know what they are right now based on what our bills are right now, and then write out our budget. Now as we go through in the future, we just start writing out dates and what payments are on those dates. So check your bank statements, check your credit card statements. You know, make sure that they, you know, you'll see whenever a credit card payment goes through, you're like, oh, it's not the 12th of this week. It's coming out actually, you know, 10 days, not 10 days, 2 days later or 2 days earlier than this date. So it could fluctuate because of maybe a weekend happened or who knows. So maybe their system messed up and they delayed a payment, and so it's like, okay, instead of the 12th it was the 15th or the 20th or something like that. So you just put it in your actuals. Alright, and if there's any difference, notes like why is there a difference. You can say, hey, I don't know, they gave me $100 credit, like a $100 credit was given to my account, you know, for some service outage or something like that, and you could put it in there and say it's only good for this month, or whatever notes you want to put in why there's a difference between the bills, right, for that day. You could also, if you wanted to, just write the notes in there to say this due date is for, I don't know, Citibank. Maybe that's Citibank, and this is the water bill. I don't know, whatever you want to put in there as far as notes to keep track of what the differences are on the dates. Maybe there's these two get pushed to the second, and you're like, I don't know which one's which. So you can write the notes in there to say, hey, this is the city card and it's the water bill at the same time, or however you have it. Okay, so there's lots of flexibility in here. So we're gonna go ahead and do our calendars. We know we finished clean. We finished super clean in December. So let's go and bring up our calendar. We're gonna go to January. We start from the 1st to the 7th. So 7, 14, 21, 28. We're going to go here and go 1 through 7, 8 through 14, 15 through, let's say 21. I think it's 21. And then the 22nd through the 27th. Let me see, hold on, let me check it. I'm not really good at, I have to look, right? So the 22nd through the 28th, I almost said the 27th. And then how many days are left? Alright, let's look at this. Going down to January, we have 1, 2, 3. So we are not going to carry this week in for this month because there's only 3 days there. See, 29, 30, and 31. There's actually more days in that week, right? If we started on the 29th and we went to the 4th, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 days is more than 3 days. So this, from the 29th to the 4th, will go into the next month's budget. We're not going to count this. I'm going to black it out so we don't get confused. Bam. Okay. And now we need to know what his paydays were. We're going to scroll down. December. So his last payday was on the 29th. Alright, so that means his next payday is on the 12th and then the 26th. So that is here and here. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and put those numbers in. 1,000 and 1,000. Alright, so we already covered all that. Right here we see that the 1st through the 7th, he's going to have an interest payment. So we're going to put it in here because interest is due on the 3rd and it's 25%. And we're going to go ahead and do that right here for interest. We're going to go equals the highest amount for that month there times 0.25 divided by 12 gives us $62.33 in interest. Not bad. So his no payday, see there's no P here, so no payday, 0. But he does have his debts, so let's see what his expenses are. 7th through, so the 1st through the 7th, that would be this one, plus this one, plus this one, plus our weekly. And hit enter, and there we go. We now have our ending balance for that week at $3,482.38. He gets paid on the next week. We also have to count in no interest here, no interest here, and no interest here. Withdrawals from the 8th through the 14th. So what happens during that time? This one, and his weekly. Alright, and no income here, so 0. Withdrawals, I'm just going in and making sure every blank spot is filled in. So here, withdrawals from the 15th to the 21st. So 15th through the 21st, and then his weekly. And then here, same thing, already added the payday here. 22nd through the 28th, there's nothing in there except for his weekly expenses, so we'll just add that in. So his ending balance is $2,361.61. So we're doing pretty good. We're knocking it down, not quite as much as our first month that we started our budget, but that's because we got paid 3 times. That's why we had such a nice boost there. Alright, so we just keep on going. We're only on the 3rd month. And we're going on the 4th month. We're already paying off $5 grand of his credit card debt. So we're gonna knock this sucker out real quick. Okay, so the next month is what? February. And then our weeks will start on the 29th through, click on the calendar, February, see 29th through the 4th. So this is the 4th, and this would be the 5th through, you see how this can be pretty tedious after a while. So 5th through the 11th, 12th, here 12 through 18, and then 19 through 25. Enter. And then we'll see about this last week. Does this last week of February have more days? Let's go here. February. It does, look, see? 26, 27, 28, 29. There's 4 days. And the next month has only 2 days until it hits 3 days until it's Sunday, right? So we're going to go from the 26th through the 3rd. 26th through the 3rd and hit enter. Okay, so we're actually using all 3 columns this time. Alright, so we need to find out what his paydays were. Alright, let's take a look real quick. Going into January, last payday was around the 28th. So January, so 26, here it is. So he got paid on the 26th, that means he gets paid on the 9th. So that falls into here, this is a payday. And then 2 weeks later, he gets paid again. Alright, no payday here. Double check that doesn't feel right, but you know, let's just double check. So he got paid on the 26th. He gets paid on the 9th, which is between here, 5 and 11. He gets paid on the 9th. And then he gets paid on the 23rd, which is in between here, and nothing else. Yep, okay, so here we go. So we're going to add in the paydays. There's 1,000 here. There's nothing for this one, 0. I'm jumping around because after you do this for a while, you'll be like, oh, okay, I know where all the numbers go, and I can go ahead and just put that in. The 3rd happens on here, so we need to do the interest on the highest number, which is this one. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Clicked on the interest field, equals, click on that, the starting balance right for this month. And then we're just going to go times 0.25 divided by 12. And there you go, 49.20. Let's go ahead and do our expenses here. So equals, oh, we forgot to copy down our expenses. So those expenses pretty much are the same unless you went on a vacation or something like that. Then you would just add it in there, say, hey, I plan to go on vacation in February, so I'm going to write in vacation and how much you plan to spend. So you can add it into your budget. And then whenever you get back, you look at your statements and be like, now I'm going to put my actuals of what I spent, hotel and taxes and rental car plus the fees and everything else. You see what I'm saying? So the actual column will change. So you're just projecting out like how long would it take if everything stayed the same and there was no crazy expenses and I live a pretty simple life. You know, I know what my bills are every single month because they don't change really. And if they do change, they rarely change, right? Not so much. Okay, so back to get off of that soapbox. All right, so 29 through the 4th. What do we have? We have this because there's nothing down here for the 29th. So we have this plus this, and that's it. And then we have our weekly. Don't forget about the weekly. Never forget about the weekly. All right, and then we go here. We have the 5th. I'm gonna hit equals. This is on the 7th, which is between the 11th. And there's nothing else. So that's it, just the weekly. There you go. We have no interest. Go ahead and zero out the interest for every single column. Except for this last one here. This last one we're going to have interest. Let's see. Right here, we're on our withdrawals. Equals the 12th through the 18th, which is this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and our weekly. And then this one, there's nothing except for our weekly. And on this one, we have this one, and our weekly. And then now we do our interest. So our interest is going to be charged on the highest amount for that month. Let's see. So this one was already for the previous month. We'll go with this one, this number here, 2,778. Better to overestimate than to underestimate and be surprised later. So we'll do this number here. That looks like the starting balance for that week was pretty low. That one's lower than that number, and this one's lower than that number. So we'll go with the higher number, 2,778.89. Okay, so we clicked on that. We're going to multiply by 25% and divide by 12, and there you go, 57.89. All right, so we're going. Next month, so we did February, March. And you get what I'm saying. From now on, it's pretty much just copy paste, rinse and repeat. It's kind of monotonous, but that's why I say just do 12 months. Don't go too far out unless you're really ambitious. But you can do 12 months, and then once you're done, you can always copy paste. You can go here and copy to the existing spreadsheet if you want to, or actually just click on duplicate if there's an option inside of Excel. I think it's duplicate. Yeah, I would probably just do duplicate. Duplicate this page, change it to whatever month you're working, or whatever year that you're working on. And if it falls over 2 years, you can say, hey, from January 2024 to December. You can say that. Or if it's maybe in the middle that you started in June, you can go June 2024 to May 2020. You can go 12 months out, right? May 2026. You can do something like that. Alright, so you just keep on going down the list, and then so this one's going to be the 4th, and you can pretty much end the video now if you wish, and if you just want to see how long it would take him to pay off this credit card, it's not going to be very long. Alright, so we just go down for March. Oop, here we go, March 4th through the 10th. So 10, 17, 24. 10, 17, 24. Double check that. So we had the 4th through the 10th, 11 through 17, 18 through 24, my bad. 18 through 24. And then this is the 25th, most likely through the 31st. Just double check that. We're in March. 4 through 10, 11 through 17, 18 through 24, 25 through the 31st. Alright, nice. We're going to block out this so we don't get confused. Bam. Alright, paydays. You got paid on that week. Not going to get paid on that week. You will get paid on this week. So it's kind of getting, you're seeing the pattern now. So there's nothing this week. There's something this week. So we're going to say paid. Put the pay amount, 1,000, into the pay amount field because we know what the payday is. And there's no interest here, so we lucked out. So we don't do interest at all for this entire month. Nice, right? So I'm going to go 0, 0, 0, and 0. So now the only thing we're left got to do is put in our numbers for our expenses. So hit equals on the 4th through the 10th. So this one's the only one that falls through there. And we have our weekly expenses. There's no income here. There's no income here. All right. The 11 through 17, that would be all of this. So it's this one, this one, this one, this one, and our weekly. This one is the 18th through the 24th, so this is the only one here. And there's nothing here, except for our weekly. Bam. Now look at us. We've gone from 2,100 to now 1,200. Isn't that nice? That's pretty sick. So here we go. March, we're going to go to April. And it looks like it's going to be the 1st through the 7th. Let's just double check April real quick. March, April. Okay, I can see here 1st through the 7th. So 7, 14, 21, 28. No, we're not going to do the 28th. It's going to be 7, 14, and 21. So this is 14, 21. 1, 2, 3, and let's double check that real quick. Fix this alignment. Get easy to see. One here. Just to make it look cleaner. Payday is on this week, so there's a P there and a P here. Let's just double check our calendar dates real quick before we start filling in the rest of the numbers. We're looking at April, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So we gotta get this last one, 22 through 28. Alright, and then we block out this last one right here. Because if you look at the dates, going down to April, there's only 2 days in that last part of that month, so this is gonna have to roll over to the next month, right? 29th through the 5th. So we're gonna block this out, and let's go ahead and put it in. Payday was 1,000. No payday here. There's a payday here. No payday here. All right. Interest will be charged on this, so we're gonna go based off this number here. All right. So we're gonna go hit equals, and we're gonna go off this number times 0.25 divided by 12. Done. There's no more interest for the rest of the month. 0, 0, 0. Alright, now we gotta do our weeklies. So 1 through 7. Oh, forgot to copy that down. Put this out. Copy this. And paste here. Alright, now we can do it. Equals. This one plus this is on the 7th, and plus this is our weekly. And a 8th through the 14th, so that's this one, and our weekly. And then, oh, we're already negative, meaning our credit card's paid off. Look at that. In 6 months, on the 6th month, your credit card's paid off. You are now negative. You don't owe anything on that credit card. So if you wanted to, you could start chunking at this point. You could start chunking at the next card and pay that one off as well. So I would venture to say that this guy or girl could pay off their 2 credit cards in 7 months. They could easily pay it off in 7 months. Let's say that you decided to start chunking at that credit card. So in this gray field, you just put in the generic information about what card you're paying off. So I'm going to go here real quick and say I want to pay off card number 1, and I owe $1,000. Now keep in mind, you have been making the payments this entire time, but it's always best to go with what you started with for this whole budget at 1,000. Right, so I started today writing this budget, and this is what today's balance was, but I'm projecting out in the future what it could be. But I'm going to assume that we didn't make any payments whatsoever the entire 6 months that we've been making payments, and now all of a sudden we're going to pay on the 15th, right? This $1,000. We're going to chunk at it, okay? So you can either you can do this one of many ways, right? You could do you could just throw your paycheck at it that next month if this one's 0, but you have to consider you're still taking all your expenses out of this one. But just remember the interest rate is like super low, so you don't have to worry about that too much. It's already at 0 now, so you're starting in negatives. All right, so that's good news. So we're going to write it down in here, and see, this is on the 15th anyway, so that works out perfect. So we're going to say credit card number 1, and we owe $1,000 on that card. So we'll decide here how much we want to chunk at it. We have an available balance of 10 grand now plus the 16, so we really don't owe that much. But we're going to go ahead and do our expenses. Let's add in our expenses. So we're going to go equals, and we have the 15th, so this one and all these pretty much. So we're going to hit equals, 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 and our weekly, and one more. So we're going to add in this column right here. This column right here got added into our formula because now we're going to chunk at this credit card. Let's say you want to be super conservative. Let's do $500 at this for this month. We'll do $500. Now our credit card balance is $933.08. Okay. We're going to do our expenses here. The 22nd through 28th. There's nothing there, just our weekly. So enter that. Our credit card balance is now up to $1,089. We start our next month. So that was April, May. Write this out, 29 through, we're in May now. May. 29 through the 5th. Okay. That one's the 5th, and then we're the 6th through 12. And I think that was 18. Uh, 13 through 19, so that was 19. I was way off on that one. 20 through 20 through 26. 26. And this one, let's see if it falls through. Let's see here. So go to May. Here we go. 20 through the 26th. Now how many days are left in this month? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's definitely following into this month's schedule because there's only 2 days into the next one. So we're going to go 27 through the 2nd. Go here and put the 2nd in here. Now, since we had been paying off the credit card, and what I didn't make any changes to, we assumed we were still making the minimum payment to our credit card this whole time. But in reality, we have already satisfied. If once we use this, we decided to use this as our debt tool, we don't pay the $45 every month anymore. You're only paying the interest. That's it, and you're already satisfying that minimum payment that they're requiring you to do because you're throwing out 100% of your paycheck into there. Okay, so in reality, this is going to go a whole lot faster than what I was telling you guys, and girls, sorry. So we're going to leave that here. We're just going to assume he's still making the payment, the minimum payment on the credit card. So we'll just leave it. We'll just leave it. It's already in play. We'll play with it. All right, so no payday this week, but there will be a payday this week. This one, and this one, and this one. All right, so income, 1,000. Nothing on that one. 1,000 here. Nothing on that one. 1,000 here. All right, and our interest is going to be charged in here. So we're going to go here equals this times 0.25 divided by 12. And now we're going to do the math. So our weekly, we need to copy. Let me copy this here. Copy and paste. And I'll paste it. And I'll paste it. All right. So equals And we have this one. We have this one. Technically we don't have it, but I'll just put it in there anyway. And this one. Alright. So we have added in our debts and our interest, and now we are at $480.66 on the credit card currently that we owe. So we just keep wash, rinse, and repeat. So we'll go to this one. We already charged the interest, so we can go ahead and zero these out. There's no interest, no interest, no interest, and this is on the 2nd, so there's no interest there either. Alright, so here, 6th through the 12th, that's going to be this one. And this one. And then we go here, so you already paid it off. So on this bill, right here, we can say, hey, how much did he owe? Well, let's find out. You take this equals this minus this, and now you only owe $500. So we're gonna say carried over for credit card. He only owes $500. So we're gonna chunk another $500, and guess what? Our credit card's paid off because there's 0 here. And if you want to do the formula, just because you want to make sure, minus this. There you go, 0. Oh, 0 after this date, before the payment. So now we just have to focus on paying down this credit card from here, and I think you're going to be done by month 8. At the latest. At the latest, if you just followed your budget, you could have both credit cards paid off in 8 months. $6,000 worth of debt based on a $1,000 income. $1,000 a week, or every other week. You know, what was it a month? 2,166 a month, and you paid off $6 grand. Got rid of it. Okay, now and then from here on out, you could decide to continue to use your credit card and continue to do the velocity thing, or you can start doing investing, like start chunking every 2 weeks, or not every 2 weeks, but every 2 months. You could start throwing $500 at an investment somewhere. Not so much savings, because savings accounts don't really earn that much interest, and who knows how long that they're going to continue to pay the interest rate that they are paying everyone now currently. You could do that, or you could put it into a CD, or you can invest in a Roth, or whatever it is that you're wanting to invest in. But I would start investing at that point, because you're done in like probably 8 months. Probably 8 months you're completely done with that. Let's keep going. Let's find out once we're completely done with the credit card, and now you're just charging your expenses on there and paying it off every month. So we added the 500, so we're gonna make sure we add it into here, plus this line. Now it's 800. Now your credit card balance written into that week is $1,313.74. So we're gonna go ahead and do this one. Equals 13 through 19. That would be this one, this one, this one, and your weekly expenses. Okay, no interest. Go to the next one. There's nothing here except for our weekly expenses. And then the first of the month, there's only one bill in here, so we're gonna go with this one. Oh, look at that. You saw that negative amount right there, right? In actuality, he paid off, or she paid off, the credit card in 7 months. In 7 months. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. In 7 months, debt free. Now, what your actual numbers are going to be could vary, right? You could, like I said, water bill could go up. You know, maybe you go on a little trip somewhere. But if nothing changed for the next 7 months, and you just worked and you paid all your bills through your credit card, you would have that. That's it. You would be done here. You can see the negative number right there, $80. So you'd have a credit on your credit card of $80.11 right there. That's cause for celebration. I think that's a cause for celebration right there. Bam. All right. So that'd be pretty much going into, what was that payday? That payday was on May. Let's go down to May real quick. On the 31st. You got paid on 31st. You paid off your credit card. Both credit cards are gone. Done. So you could attack whatever the debt that you'd have. So to me, this would be like a student. A student that helps out their parents with the bills, maybe. They help out with the water bill and the electric bill, gas. You know, for his car is going to be his car. Maybe the insurance is his insurance. Cell phone's his cell phone. Internet's maybe his half of the internet bill. Cable, half of that's for him or her. Groceries, maybe they spend $300 on themselves on groceries, or junk food or whatever it is, maybe going out to eat and miscellaneous stuff. So this could be like a college student, ideal college student payoff. So here I would say your emergency fund now, if you paid all that off, is going to be the difference of this, your expenses that you budgeted, because now this is paid off, so you don't have to worry about this $300 or $95. But your bills here are $1,270 minus this $1,500 or $15,000. So I would go here and hit equals this minus this, and you have $13,730 for emergency fund. Now over time that number is going to increase and get better, and over time as you start getting loans, hopefully this person doesn't go back into credit card debt and open up more credit cards, but they could, as long as they pay it off with Velocity Banking. Life always has its ups and it has its downs. You get out of debt, you get back into debt. As long as you learn how to do the Velocity Banking and you live to those rules every time, and you do your weekly budget, you have nothing to worry about. You can buy a house, you can pay off the house extremely fast. If I bought a home, I would not fall victim to say, hey, I want the shortest term mortgage I can find out there. Let me get a 15-year mortgage. Let's do that. No, just do the terms, right? 30-year mortgage, and then try to find the best interest rate you can find with the lowest fees possible. If you can get no fees, that's great, but most likely you're gonna end up paying fees. That's what I would do. I'd look for those deals. Now, who's to say that this person isn't already trying to plan to buy a house or something like that? This is going to be great because now he's going to pay off the credit card. This is where the closing date comes in handy, right? The closing date is definitely going to come in handy. If the closing date is on the 2nd, you want to pay down the credit card to where there's only, like, I'd say 1 to 9%. 1 to 9% balance on that credit card. So he has 10 grand. His 1 to 9% is what? What would that be? So if we did, we go equals and we say $10,000, and then we multiply that by 0.01, which is 1%. That's $100 to, I'd say, what, $900? Let's see. So if I go equals, take the 10 grand, multiply by 0.09, that's 9%. So anywhere between here is the balance that he wants to keep on that card on the close date. So before this date, not on this date, but like before this date, I'd probably go like maybe 5 days before that date. So 5 days before this date, pay that bill down, pay your credit card down to anywhere between these two numbers. And the closer you get to here, but it's still gotta be at least 1%. Don't go 0. Go to 1% and have that show on the credit card as you owe $100, and that's it. Out of 10 grand, your credit score is going to go through the roof. It's definitely going to go up as long as you make sure that payment clears before the close date, before this date. So that's what I would try to do, because you're going to figure it out real quick. If you're watching and paying attention, you make a payment. How long does that payment take to post to the account, to this credit card? How long does it take to post? And then you can kind of gauge to say, hey, I got 2 days, so I could probably pay this off on the 30th or 31st, and I'm good to go. My balance will be between here by this date. By this date, I would not wait until the 2nd to pay to get it down to that number. I would do it way before that number. So and then you just pay the interest between this amount, right? If you're only borrowing $1,270, it should be really easy for you to get that credit card down to this amount, 100 to 900, and then later on you can, hey, can I get a credit line increase? They'll say, let me look at your credit history. Oh man, you made all your payments on time, and your debt to income ratio, you have 0 on this card, which this one I would probably use, right? You have 2 credit cards, use it, but keep it at the 1%. So 1% of 1,000, or sorry, 1% of 5,000 isn't going to be much. Let's move these numbers down. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to move it down real quick. Alright, so 1% And this one is 13. Okay, 1%, 50 bucks. 50 bucks. That's like you go get gas one time and then you leave it right there. You just leave it there until the closing date, right? The closing date. And you can pay off the card. You can pay off the card if you want to, if it makes you more happy to leave it at 0. And then before the end of the month, go put gas on it one time. Just put 50 bucks on it, let it sit. Just put $50 on that card and just let it sit, and then just pay the interest. So, or don't pay the interest. So you can pay it off if you want to, but what is 20% of 50 bucks really? Is it worth it for you to have a better credit score so that you can get, you know, a lower interest rate on your mortgage, or a better interest rate on a future car, or some kind of loan in the future if you need something, you know, something like that? Now there's other strategies, but this is just assuming that you have no other options to you at this time, and you're just living at home with mom and dad, and you're planning your future to get a house. Maybe you're looking at starting to do investing, and maybe you want to start up a whole life insurance policy or something like that on yourself. You could do that. You could easily do that, and then you could start saving up that way. So to me, if the whole life policy, or whatever boat that you choose, whatever method that you choose, so there's a whole bunch of them out there. There's tons and tons and tons and tons of life insurance policies, term or whole life, or IULs, right? Universal, I think it's UILs or something like that. I think it's UILs. Let's Google it real quick. I think it's called a UIL. Insurance policy. It is a UIL. All right. So there's a whole bunch of different UILs also. Now, you want to make sure that if you're going to go that route, if you're going to go that route, is it IUL or ILU or UIL? I'm pretty sure I had it right. IUL. I had it right the first time. So I would do an IUL, right? But not just any IUL. It has to be structured properly so that you can maximize how much money you're making, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting paid interest and dividends, and you also want to have it compounding. So that's a whole nother topic. It's a whole nother topic for later. But you can do both. You can, with this person's capital, the money that they have, and I'm pretty sure the cash flow, if you look at this, right, there's their monthly average, $2,000, $2,166, and their expenses was only 95 plus they had roughly what, like 800 bucks, maybe a little less, left over every single month, you know, cash flow wise. So that we could do the math right here. We go here, like what's the cash flow, and then basically to do the calculation, it would be this, right, minus all of your minimum payments here, and minus all of your expenses, right? All these are your expenses here. Nope, that's not minus, that was addition. So go here and subtract $801.67. So this guy had $801.67 to play with. You could easily start up a whole life insurance policy. Say this person was only like 18 years old. The maximum they would pay on their insurance, or the minimum, let's just say for whole life, and you want to pay whole life you would be paying probably about 180 bucks a month. That is not going to hurt you at all. Right? It's not going to hurt you at all to take 180 out of this and start paying towards it, and then you can borrow against it as your line of credit instead of using this credit card. Because once you start borrowing from this, it's going to be like, I don't know, say on the high end 6%. Say this is 6% interest. That's still way better than the 25% you're losing, because you're going to pay back this amount every single month. Pay it back, borrow it again, pay it back, borrow it again, pay it back, wash, rinse, and repeat every single month. Wash, rinse, and repeat, and this number will grow. So the first month may be 180. Well, it's going to be less because of fees and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm going off topic. We can talk about this another time. I personally do believe in using a whole life insurance policy. or another one, but it has to be properly structured. Just remember that. The other one that I just started recently was MPI with IUL. All right, this is a properly structured universal indexed universal life insurance policy, which does compounding, and then the whole life insurance policy, you're borrowing against your cash value, but you never take out the cash value. So while the cash value is still sitting there and you keep making your payments into it, you're earning interest on your money that's sitting there, and you're borrowing against it, right? Whatever that amount is. And we'll cover that in the next video. I'll cover the difference between should you borrow against your whole life insurance policy to pay something, or should you not, right? Okay, so we know here, back to what I was talking about earlier, is you want to make sure that your credit card, once it's paid off, keep using them, keep utilizing them, but keep your debt to income ratio between 1 and 9%. So on this card, it's going to be not that amount. Let's go here. Let's just clear this out. Equals this times 0.09. I guess so. 1%. 9%. Okay, so 450 bucks. So anywhere between 50 and 450 can go on this card. And then this one would be 10,000 times 0.01, and I think this was 900. I believe that's what it was. Let's just check it again here, and times 0.09. Bam. Okay, yeah. So as long as you stayed in between these numbers here for both of these cards, and you can pay them off, like I said, maybe what you do is you divide your bills up and say, hey, on this is going to be a super sensitive time of the month for me at the beginning of the month. I'm going to make sure I pay this down, get it between these happy numbers, and then put the balance on the other, like start charging, you know, my gas on this card or something around this time of the second. Then maybe, you know, a week or 4 or 5 days before this, so let's say that the 10th or the 11th, I stop using this card, go back to this card. So you can start juggling cards around if they give you benefits. If they don't give you any benefits, don't use them. Don't use them. You don't need to close it, but just don't use them. Don't use them. So there's plenty of cards out there, and you're going to be building your credit over time. Let's say your credit score, you know, currently is, you know, a 650. Maybe you can't get a credit card right now. Or you could, but I don't think you'd really want it. But let's say you get your credit card. We'll talk about that too. We'll talk about all that stuff later. How you can utilize credit and use the points, rewards, and whatever it is that you're into. I like cash back personally. I love cash back. Points, not so much, because points end up costing me more in the long run than it's worth. So, but anyways, yeah. So your credit score will continue to go up as long as you keep these two cards. Once you get them down to this amount and just keep them in between this. See if you can look on the high end. Is this amount not enough to cover these monthly bills? Are they not? I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm pretty sure you could divide up all these expenses between these two cards, and then you just pay every single month, and your score, you're going to see your score go from 650 is going to go up to like 800. Maybe not that fast. We'll say maybe it'll go from there to 700 in less than 6 months. In less than 6 months, you're going to see your score go from 650 to 700. In 6 months, if you just kept your card between the 1 and 9%, you paid your bills, right? You paid your bills with this. So how much is this? How much is this right here? Look at that, 1,350. If you used those two cards to pay all these bills, you'd be set. Your credit score is going to climb super quick, and you'll watch it if you get on Credit Karma and you watch your credit score go up. And Credit Karma, I have mixed feelings about them. So they give you a FICO score, right? They'll give you your score. But if you actually go to the lender and they do a hard inquiry against you, you're going to find that your score is a lot higher than this. So say this is today. Right, this is today. This is what your credit score says on Credit Karma. But in reality, you go to the bank and they're going to be like, "Oh, you have a 680." You know, something like that. I don't know why there's a difference. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. But this is what Credit Karma could tell you if you use Credit Karma. You have a 650 right now, sir. But as you start paying off these debts, right, you reduced everything down. You got this below the 450, the 1,000 that you owed, you got it below the 450, and you got the 5,000 that you used to owe, and you got it down to 900. Man, your score is going to go up. It's definitely going to go up just doing that. And once you get it there, you just pay it off after the close date. I would pay it off after the close date, which is before your due date. So usually this date is going to be pretty close to your close date. Alright, but there's a grace period here. So this could be like a whole month later. Look at this. This could be a whole month later. Your close date is not your due date, but you're going to make your close date your due date. What I mean by that is you're going to pay it down, so it's in between this range, and then the day after the close date hits, and they've registered this with the credit bureaus, pay it off. Pay it to 0. Done. Keep it at 0 as long as you can, and then slowly start adding back in your bills throughout the month. Right? So if this was the second to close date, I'd start adding in this one right here. Well, you don't have that no more. The credit card's done. So I'd probably start adding in this one here, right? This one, and then eventually this one. Your gas is going to come out a little bit, groceries and whatnot. And as soon as you get close again, towards the end of that month, pay it back down. Pay it back down to get it back down to below 900, anywhere between 100 and 900. Pay it back down. It's all about discipline, mindset. Don't go, hey, I got $13,000 I can spend right now. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. You don't want to mess yourself up. You don't want to go back into the debt and have this endless cycle of debt that's just not going to work for you. But once you get into once this is all done, right, all these credit cards here and loans and whatever you have is done, now you can advance your life even faster, and you can start whole life insurance policies, and maybe you're comfortable every single month to say, hey, you know what, I know exactly what my bills are. I have my emergency fund here. I'm just gonna start slamming money on my whole life insurance policy, or my MPI UIL or IUL. I don't know why I always mix up these acronyms. It's Index Universal Life, IUL. So let's just get rid of this. There you go, IUL, right? You want the best one. Do not just get a generic IUL, because it's going to be very expensive and it's not going to be very efficient for you if you're going to do this. Yeah, if you're going to do an IUL. Okay, we'll talk about that stuff later. Like I said before, I have two policies. I personally do own a whole life insurance policy, and I personally do own an MPI IUL. I have these. Now the MPI that stands in the beginning of this is a strategy. Just like with whole life, there is a strategy. A strategy tied with it is called IBC. Now IBC is just a concept. That's all it is. It's just a concept. It can be applied to any whole life insurance policy, but a properly structured whole life policy will be better for you, because your costs are going to be super low. Okay, so we'll go over that. We'll go over that later. Okay, so not right now, but I do personally have both of these. I have one of each. Okay, so we're going to cover all that. We'll cover all that later, and then I can point you to references to get more information too. And there's plenty of YouTube videos out there, but people will tell you, oh, you don't ever want to do an IUL, right? You don't ever want to do one of those. And then other people, if you find them, they'll say, hey, there's more than one boat to get you to your final destination. There's more than one method to get you to your final destination. And then the analogy that I've heard recently was, how many different ways are there to get to 10? Right? Isn't 1 plus 9 10? Isn't 1 times 10 10? Right? There's an infinite amount of ways to get to 10. So 10 would represent your goal, your perfect path. So whatever makes you happy at the end. It can be any way. You can take any route to get to what makes you happy at the end. What is your goal at the end? If your goal is to retire early, like I am, my goal is to reach FIRE as fast as possible. I know I'm kind of late to the game, but at least I'm not, you know, super late to the game where I can't use compounding interest to, you know, advance, you know, that theory to get to my F.I.R.E, right? I can still get to my F.I.R.E hopefully way before, you know, 65 or 67 or 70, right? Whenever you start collecting Social Security and pulling money from your IRA or your 401k. So I think for now this is good enough. This is just going to explain the velocity banking, right? I know this video is very long, but if you do have any questions, concerns, comments, or any ideas to making things better, that hey, I'm up to listening. But this is velocity banking and how you can use a weekly tracker to predict out how much or how long it will take you. You know, this guy is done in 7 months, or you know, whatever your budget is, and you copy paste the tabs and do your thing. I mean, this is pretty much your budget, however you want to do it. This is how I do mine. And I can show you mine's super. Look at this. This is mine. Just a quick preview. If you stuck with me this long, this is a bonus for you. So you see how mine is. Mine, I have a lot of debts. Look at all this stuff. I have a lot of debts here. I have a ton of debts here. I pay my minimum payments. If I make my minimum payments, is $6,000. Look how much debt. Look how much debt. How much debt do I have right now? $640,000 in debt. That's how much I have. That includes the house, includes all of these things: student loans, credit cards, solar, water treatment system, you know, my credit cards. It's just my car. You see what I'm saying? Like all these debts, and you can see some of these interest rates. You know, mortgage is not bad. These are 0 interest for a little while. This is almost 0 because I closed the account. This is like 6% for my student loans. Ridiculous, super high. This is my credit card that I'm using as a debt tool right now, 19.15. See, and then I left it over here where my credit limits, you know, are 0 because they're closed-in loans. I cannot use this as a line of credit, right? It's a mortgage unless I got a HELOC. And then here, like, these are credit cards, 2 different Bank of America credit cards. I have a credit limit of 7,500 and another one that's 10. The Discover card, I closed it, so I showed, hey, I'm not able to use it. I closed it so that I can get rid of the interest rate that was on there. It was super high, so I closed it and I made a payment arrangement. That's things that you can do, right? If you have a lot of debt, the best way to do it is to call them up. Don't default on your payments. It's not worth it. It's not worth going to court. It's not worth, you know, filing bankruptcy. None of that stuff is worth it. You can pay off your debts. Look how much debt I have. $640,000. And later on I'm going to show you that I am on a path to pay off everything in 10 years. And you can see what my income is, right? This is my income here. So this is annually. It's not too bad. But after all my payments and things like that, after all these debts are paid, and after my budgeted expenses are paid, right? My HOA fees, the insurance, all these things. Here's my policies. Here's my 2 policies right here. And it's not small chump change here. This is not small. This is a lot of money, right? That's $930 every month coming out to my policies. But I can use it to pay off all of this, like, super quick. So I'm using this as part of my debt tools. But in the meantime, while I'm building up these accounts, they're like savings accounts with a lot more benefit. I'll just leave it at that. You do your research, do IBC Whole Life or MPI IUL. Do your research, make sure you understand, and you're going to find that one is more better than the other. This one gives you a larger community, right, to do IBC. This one is a new community, but it gives you more money at the end, or you can retire early with cash flow, tax-free money. And that's what I care about, is paying less taxes, because they already tax you here. Every time you get paid, you got to pay your taxes. Okay, so I've done all this, and you can see here, here's my monthly budget tracker. I'm keeping track of stuff, and I'm paying off my Best Buy credit card this month. And then I'm just writing it all down, just going down the list, see how long it will take me. And you can see I kind of stopped here because I do have more than one budget. I'm just trying to format everything into this form in here. And then I have my notes on the side. I have all of my payments in here, right? It's all in here. So it's all good, and I have my total, how much I'm paying in my debts, okay? So that it's a little more complicated. We're not going to go over mine as much, but I'm just showing you I'm actually using this. I do have debt. It's not like I'm debt free. I'm some multi-millionaire dude. That's BS. So this is just me paying these bills. These are all my debts. So and that's it. We're all good in here. So you see how much I pay. It's all in there. And now we'll go back to this. This is what you guys need to fill out. You can expand the columns. You click on a row, right click, and insert a row above or below to add another line if there's another loan. Credit card, same thing. Fill it out. It's worth it in the end, trust me. It's so much worth it. I've paid off in 2 months. I've paid off my Best Buy credit card in 2 months. So I'm on my last payment now, right? So maybe not 2 months. I think it was 2.5 months. Sorry, it'd be 2.5 months. Best Buy's done. I estimated that I was going to be paying Best Buy off by probably March. But if I logged into my Best Buy account right now, you would have saw that it's 0 interest. It's 0 interest until April, and then from then on, it's all so that there's like these little gotchas with certain things. Best Buy is notorious for it. Your interest rate's probably going to be 30% interest, 20 to 30% easily. They'll say, hey, if you spend this much money, we'll give you 0 interest for 6 months, or we'll give you 0 interest for 12 months, or we'll give you 0 interest for 16 months, or something like that. So you're going to say, oh, that's awesome, that's great. But what they don't tell you is it is deferred, meaning the balance that you have on that credit card is accruing interest. Every single month you're getting charged interest, but it's not showing up. It's not applied to your card until the end of your promotion period. Once that promo period ends, all that interest that has been accumulated all that whole time is going to go bam right on that card, and you're going to owe all that interest on top of what your principal is. So don't fall victim for that stuff. Don't keep your cards at. Don't say to yourself, oh, I don't have to worry about it. It's a 0 interest. I'll just make the minimum payment. I'll be good to go. No, you don't want to do that. You don't ever want to do that, even if it's 0% interest, because there's always a catch on these store cards and stuff like that. You also have to be careful of certain credit cards. They might be the same way. They may say, hey, do a balance transfer, you'll be good to go for 15 months. And you're over there racking up the debt. You still got, you transferred all your debt over, and then you're just, spending. And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, hey, I've been making my minimum payments. How much do I owe? Oh, crap, I owe like $15,000. But some of them might have that deferred interest. They may have that deferred interest. You got to read the small print. Make sure you understand fully. If you're going to sign a 0 interest credit card, make sure you don't fall victim to saying, oh, okay, well, it was only like, it's deferred for 6 months. Now they charge you all that stuff. So don't fall for that. All right, anyways, that's all I got for you for now. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to see more, learn more, hear more, just subscribe, hit that ring bell notification, and I will post videos in the future, or share a comment with me. Let me know what you would like to learn about, and I can cover those or create a video about it. Until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.